Shella Elite family, listen up because this one is not your regular internet gossip. This one allegedly involves late night shouting, a gated community, law enforcement, and lawyers. Not fists, not a slap fight. Lawyers. And when you hear the full story, you're going to understand exactly why Remy Ma played this the smartest way possible while everybody else involved was out here running on pure emotion. Okay, so let's get into it because there is a lot to unpack. According to what's been circulating, something allegedly went down outside the residence connected to Remy Ma and Papoose during the late night hours. Not a small thing either. We're talking neighbors waking up, law enforcement getting involved, the whole nine. And at the center of it, Claressa Shields, allegedly in a state that nobody expected to see from her. Now, think about that for a second. This is a woman the world knows as a champion, confident, composed, dominant in the ring. That's the image, right? That's what we've all watched for years. But according to these reports, that same woman was allegedly outside somebody's house in the middle of the night, emotional, overwhelmed, demanding to speak to Papoose. That is not the Claressa the world signed up to see. And that right there is exactly why this story blew up the way it did. But here's the thing. This wasn't just any neighborhood. This allegedly happened in a private gated community, the type of place where people pay extra specifically. So this kind of chaos does not happen at their front door. So when reports say neighbors heard shouting, saw unusual activity near the entrance, that's not a small disturbance. That's a whole scene. That's a full-blown moment unfolding where people expect peace and quiet. Now, listen, some of y'all are going to say, well, heartbreak doesn't care about your zip code. And okay, fair point. Anybody, and I mean anybody, can hit an emotional breaking point regardless of how successful they are. But here's my question. Was this really just heartbreak or was this something else entirely? Because here's where it gets spicy. While all of this was allegedly happening outside, Remy Ma did not engage. She didn't come out. She didn't argue. She didn't post a single reactionary caption in the moment. Instead, reports suggest she went straight to attorneys, straight to paperwork, straight to law enforcement. No yelling match, no back and forth, just quiet, calculated action. Now let's sit with that for a second because that move changes the entire narrative. Think about it. If Remy had come outside and started arguing, screaming, going back and forth, this becomes just another messy celebrity blow up. Another viral moment we forget about in 2 weeks. But by staying inside and letting the legal system handle it, she turned this from relationship drama into something with actual consequences. That's not somebody losing control. That's somebody who already knew exactly what she was doing. But here's the thing that really has people talking. Where was Papoose during all of this? According to what's circulating, he stayed inside. He didn't come out. He didn't try to de-escalate. He didn't show up to calm anybody down or clear the air. He just stayed inside. And listen, silence speaks louder than people think. A lot of people are interpreting that as symbolic, like where do his loyalties really lie in a moment like this? Because if this was truly just misunderstanding, wouldn't you want to step outside and clear it up? Wouldn't you want to be the one to calm the situation before it escalated to law enforcement being involved? Now, let's talk about the two competing theories because online, everybody's got a take. One side is saying this was pure emotional fallout, that Claressa reached an actual breaking point, dealing with public scrutiny, dealing with a messy public relationship, dealing with promises and expectations that maybe didn't play out the way she thought they would. And look, that's a real thing. Heartbreak doesn't discriminate. Betrayal doesn't care how many championship belts you're holding. If Claressa genuinely believed certain things about this relationship and it didn't unfold how she expected, then yeah, that could absolutely push somebody to an emotional edge. But then there's the other side of this. The side that says, hold on, wait a minute. Was this really about emotion or was this a calculated power move? Because here's the thing people are pointing out: Remy stayed quiet for a while. She let rumors circulate. She let public attention drift elsewhere. And then, right when tension allegedly hit its peak, that's exactly when legal action reportedly entered the picture. Now, does that timeline sound impulsive to you? Or does that sound like somebody who was watching, waiting, and moved at the exact right moment to shift the entire narrative in her favor? Because listen, when you introduce lawyers into a situation, you are no longer talking about heartbreak. You are no longer talking about relationship drama. You are talking about boundaries. You are talking about protection. You are talking about legal consequences that don't just disappear when the internet moves on to the next story. That is a completely different level of seriousness. And whether that was Remy protecting her peace or Remy playing chess while everybody else was out here playing checkers, either way, it worked. Now let's go back to Papoose for a second, because his silence has become almost as big a story as the alleged incident itself. Some people are calling it maturity, like maybe he's intentionally staying quiet so he doesn't add fuel to an already messy fire. And okay, I can respect that logic. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do in chaos is not add your voice to it. But other people are looking at this completely differently. They're saying, why would you stay this quiet if you had nothing to hide? Why would the person literally at the center of this entire situation have the least to say about it? And here's the thing about silence: when somebody doesn't give you answers, people don't just stop asking questions. They start filling in the blanks themselves. Every single public appearance he makes now gets picked apart. Every social media move gets analyzed for hidden meaning. That's what happens when you go quiet during a storm. You don't actually avoid the conversation. You just hand the microphone to everybody else and let them tell your story for you. Now, let's talk about Claressa for a second, because I do think there's a layer of sympathy people aren't giving her enough credit for. This is a woman who built her entire reputation, her entire legacy through discipline, years of training, years of sacrifice, historic championship victories that most athletes could only dream of. And now, all anybody wants to talk about is this, not her accomplishments, not her legacy, this. And that right there is such a real reminder of how fast public perception can flip. You can spend a decade building something incredible, and one controversial night can dominate headlines more than a decade of hard work ever did. But here's the flip side. Critics aren't wrong either when they say this raises real questions about judgment. Because at the end of the day, when you're a public figure, when you're a professional athlete with a brand, with sponsors, with a legacy on the line, every decision you make gets magnified. What might be a private breakdown for a regular person becomes a headline, becomes a trending topic, becomes content for channels exactly like this one. That's the reality of fame. It's not fair all the time, but it is the deal you sign up for the moment you become this recognizable. Now, here's what really gets me about this whole situation. It's not even just about these three people anymore. This has turned into a much bigger conversation about loyalty, about trust, about what happens when private struggles get dragged into public view. Because let's be honest, y'all, none of us actually know the full truth here. We are working off reports, screenshots, alleged accounts, and online speculation. Nobody outside of that house actually knows exactly what happened that night. But that hasn't stopped the entire internet from building full narratives, picking sides, and treating speculation like it's confirmed fact. And that's the part that's honestly a little concerning, if we're being real. Because speculation spreads faster than facts ever could. One claim gets posted, then another account disputes it, then somebody else adds a new detail, and before you know it, we've got 5 different versions of the same story circulating at the same time, and none of them are fully verified. That's the world we live in now. A single post, a single screenshot, a single live stream, And suddenly, millions of people are picking apart a situation they have zero actual context for. But here's why this story really resonates with people beyond just celebrity gossip. Because at its core, this touches on things regular people go through all the time: loyalty, betrayal, jealousy, public embarrassment, emotional investment in a relationship that didn't turn out the way you hoped. Those are universal experiences. Fame doesn't exempt you from heartbreak, and heartbreak doesn't exempt you from being human, no matter how many championship belts are sitting in your trophy case. So, where does that leave us right now? Honestly, with more questions than answers. We don't know for certain what really happened that night. We don't know if this was pure emotional fallout or a calculated legal strategy. We don't know what Papoose's silence actually means, whether it's wisdom, avoidance, or something else entirely that we haven't even considered yet. What we do know is this: the way each of these three people handles what comes next is going to shape how the public sees them for a long, long time. Reputation isn't just built in the ring or in the studio. It's built in moments exactly like this one, when everybody's watching and nobody's giving you the benefit of the doubt. So Shella Elite family, that's today's tea. And honestly, this one's still brewing. Comment down below. Do you think this was a genuine emotional breakdown? Or do you think Remy Ma played the smartest chess move in this entire situation? And Papoose staying silent this whole time, wisdom or straight up avoidance? Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button. And if you're not part of the family yet, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Because trust me, this story is far from over. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Peace out.